And the hitter is Rich Gedman.
He made up his mind he was going to swing, because that was certainly out of the strike zone, and it was a fastball. If that would have been in the strike zone, you'd have seen another line drive.
6 runs, 8 hits for the Sox. Home runs by Henderson and Evans, a double by Boggs. Those 8 hits, only Gedman is without one. And of course Clemens, who was allowed to swing 2-0. I think that might be one of the more memorable moments of the series.
He must have had a baseball coach at Fordham to let you guys do that.
So there's Dwight Evans and Jim Rice. They have their club out by 4. And of course the show moves to Fenway Park. Game 3, Bobby Ojeda and Dennis Oil Can Boyd. Tuesday night, 1-2. Ojeda, the former Red Sox, 18-5. Boyd, 16-10. The natural Red Sox New York connection is even carried with a note of irony this year. In 1975, the Red Sox, who came so close with the Reds, were managed by Darrell Johnson. Darrell Johnson today is an advanced scout for the New York Mets. There's the curve, and that takes care of Gedman, but it's a little too late for that. Take a look at that breaking ball. You've heard so much about his fastball, but watch this bender.
I think the thing he does when he looks away from the hitters is as intimidating as any pitch. You take a look at it, that's the slow curve. You can see it twist out of there, and Gedman, although he followed it, kept his head in there, he was just a little bit out in front of it. But Gooden, when he delivers the ball, twice in his delivery, he looks away from the batter.
Here's Dave Henderson, who really stung him in the 4th inning with a towering drive into left center field. Dave flied to center in the 2nd inning and then found the range in the 4th. 6-2 Boston, 5th inning. There's that slow breaking ball, but it stayed up. 2 balls, no strikes. On deck, Spike Owen. Mel Stottlemyre and manager Davy Johnson reflecting the mood of the ball club.
Boy, that's on his mind too, that Gooden at bat.
Another breaking ball strike, and the count 2-1. Davy Johnson had to rub his chin and think. There were runners at 1st and 2nd, 2 out in the 4th, 2 long fly balls to right. He had Aguilera and Sisk in the pen. He opted for Gooden to bat. Gooden made out on a good play by Buckner, stayed in to surrender 2 more runs here in the 5th, and that's been the biggest single decision of the game. 2-2.
Watch when he delivers the ball, man. He'll look away. Hitters hate that right there.
Not bad. And there's a shot foul. It was off speed, and Henderson way out in front of it. That's like Valenzuela looking up to the bill of his cap.
Same thing.
The difference is he doesn't throw as hard as Gooden, and with Gooden you want to make sure he knows that you're there.
Oh, you want to holler. You want to wear one of those orange jackets that you see the highway guys that work out there. You know, I'm over here, Dwight.
Dwight stung by home runs, most he has ever given up in a game 2, and he's done that tonight. And he takes care of Henderson. That's 5 strikeouts, but right now that's just window dressing, and the batter is Spike Owen. He gave up 17 home runs all year, and Davy Johnson knows that's not the man he's been looking at. But as we said, Gooden has changed his pitching style considerably in the last 3 years, particularly in strikeouts. Spike Owen walked and singled. 1 for 1. Fastball. And remember, if Spike had not violated a baseball running rule, trying to go to 3rd on a ball hit ahead of him, it might have been an even bigger 4th inning when the Red Sox could settle for just 1. They're leading 6-2. They could be out of sight otherwise. In there. They're not hanging K's. They're not making any noise. The crowd is as quiet as John McNamara. 0-2. When the game started, remember the hundreds of people waving the cards. Cards have been put back in the deck. Ooh. 1-2. When the Mets bat in the 5th inning, they have Lenny Dykstra, Wally Backman, and Keith Hernandez. trying to jam him, and he's behind 2-2 now.
And he shook off the curveball that Gary had put down there as we look at Rice and Dewey Evans.
Rice and Evans, they were on that 75 club, although Rice didn't play because of the broken hand. Two balls, two strikes, two out. Curveball, squirted foul on the end of the bat.
I think that's the difference in Gooden this year and other years. He had a spike on in other years. He'd rear back and just hum it and come right at you. Now he's finessing him, trying to get him with the breaking ball.
We'll repeat that again. In '84, he averaged 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. In '85, he averaged 9 strikeouts per 9. This year, he averaged 7 strikeouts per 9. Last year, he struck out 10 or more 11 times. This year, 5 times. So he's changed. 2-2. Curveball. So down goes Spike on, and that's the quietest striking out the side job you'll ever see as the Sox go back to work, and they're leading 6-2. Tonight's game is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. And by AT&T, the right choice. Lenny Dykstra, Wally Backman, and Keith Hernandez. Roger Clemens is backed up by Steve Crawford in the bullpen. Dykstra has struck out and sacrificed 0 for 1. The Red Sox 6, the Mets 2, bottom of the 5th inning. Fastball hit in the air to right center. Evans trying to run it down and slides and came up with it.
He was afraid of a collision, but what a play he made. And they're going to have a little visit out there in right center field. It looks like it's over his head, and Dewey.
Second baseman, Wally.
He didn't see that ball. Look at the way he kind of shied away from that. Tremendous catch. He lost that ball and found it once again right here. It looked like he was afraid of a collision, but he just shied away from it. What a play he made.
Great play by Dwight Evans, and of course that does more to take the steam out of the Mets. And with 1 away, the batter is Wally Backman. I must say that Roger Clemens, even leading 6-2, and as great as he is very wobbly tonight. And all you have to do is look back to the 4th inning with those long fly balls to right.
They're like two great fighters, just keep punching each other out, and legs are getting rubbery, but they're hanging in there.
Backman has walked and singled. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Mets with 2 runs, 4 hits. Clemens has walked 3, and he has struck out 3. 1-1. Two balls, 1 strike. Backman just trying somehow to get something started.
That's why it was a bit surprising to see Dykstra hit the first pitch. They're trailing by 4, get something on, get those gunners, and you really have to play for that 3-run homer, which is not the Mets game.
2 balls and 1 strike to Wally Backman. Now back 2-2. The Red Sox scored 3 in the 3rd. The Mets came back with 2. The Red Sox scored 1 in the 4th, might have had more, added 2 more in the 5th. They've had home runs by Dave Henderson and Dwight Evans with a man aboard. They've had a double by Boggs, and the glove of Boggs figured prominently in the 3rd inning. Foul back. So 2 excellent defensive plays by Boggs in the 3rd prevented the Mets from at least getting tied. Had they been tied, that might have changed Davy Johnson's thinking completely relative to Gooden taking that at bat with 2 out.
I'd say this play right here by Evans, a tremendous play.
Ball 3. Three and 2 to Wally Backman. Keith Hernandez on deck. 6-2 Boston in the 5th. Way out. 4 walks, the most walks in a game this year. Clemens allowed 6, and that's the only thing that really gives this crowd any heart. The fact that Roger is struggling. He allowed the fewest walks in the majors this year. Just under 3 did the Red Sox pitchers, but Clemens now has walked 4, and here's Hernandez.
How many times have you heard of Vin where they say, hey, it's easy to pitch when you have your good stuff? And it's the great pitcher who hangs in there when he doesn't have his good stuff. And that's what you're watching in Roger Clemens and Dwight Gooden. Although Clemens has the lead, the good one, 4 runs, but he's wobbly.
Remember Hernandez last at bat. He slammed one off the left foot of Clemens. It caromed over toward Boggs, who made a fine play. That advanced Backman to second, and then Carter's ground ball that might have tied up the game was flagged by Boggs, and he threw Gary out. Hernandez committing a very important error in the 3rd inning. Hit right by the Red Sox dugout and off the auxiliary box seats, and Buddy Harrelson flips it in. And boy, it was time to duck for cover. Yeah, go that way, pal.
Keep it away from me.
0-1. For Hernandez, ironic he would make an error on a big play in the World Series. At one stage this year, he had an errorless streak of 101 consecutive games without an error, and he made only 5 all year. But a big one tonight. Ground ball to the hole. Big hop off the glove of Marty Barrett, deflected to right, and on his way to 3rd goes Wally Backman. A bad throw to the plate, finally grabbed by Rich Gedman. So Backman holding at first. And with 1st and 3rd, Gary Carter coming up.
Barrett gets over there, but it takes like a kangaroo hop off his glove. And John McNamara is going out to the mound. He wants to talk to Gedman. Take one more look at it. Barrett was cheating towards the bag, hoping to get a double play.
John McNamara has not taken the ball, as you can see from Clemens, so leading by 4 runs. Let's see what he does. Yep. So Steve Crawford will be loosening up and now coming in. It is 6-2 Red Sox. However, the Mets have runners at 1st and 3rd with 1 out. Gary Carter coming up, and we'll be right back. Watching that diving catch by Dwight Evans in the 5th inning against Lenny Dykstra immediately brings back a memory. 1969. Brooks Robinson the hitter. Frank Robinson at 3rd. A drive into right center. Ron Swoboda makes a remarkable catch. Robinson tags up and scores. The Mets won the game 2-1 in 10 innings. There's Dewey's catch, a little different, but it certainly brings back the memory. Steve Crawford, who pitched in Game 5 Sunday against the California Angels, and perhaps had the quote of any post game in the history of baseball from now and ever on. Talking about pressure, he said, if there was a bathroom on the mound, I would have used it.
And we can all identify with that.
I should say. Roger Clemens, remember, as the starting pitcher, did not go the required 5 innings. Consequently, Clemens will not have anything to do with the decision. Gary Carter flied to center and was robbed of a hit by Wade Boggs. And there's a pretty good hole on the left side. Ball 1. So they're playing him up the middle. That's the book on Carter. That's where he's been going. And Boggs was quick enough to fill the gap in the 3rd. So Backman at 3rd, Hernandez at 1st, and the only out was the catch by Evans. There's a hopper through off the glove of Owen. In comes Backman, Hernandez to second. 6-3 Boston. The run is charged to Clemens. The hit is charged to Crawford.
That ball was only about 2 steps from Owens, but really hit, came off that grass. The grass fast, just mowed, and right by him, and the Mets have it going.
Hernandez at second, Carter at first, 1 out. 6-3 Boston in the 5th, and Darryl Strawberry, the tying run at the plate. He has struck out on a towering out to right. Ball 1. Remember, he hit the fork ball in the 4th inning and hit that drive to right that Evans caught on the track. One and one. Boy, I tell you, if you like crowd noise, if it does something to you, you come to the right place and at the right time. They'll start to build again now. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Fork ball, and he was way out in front of it.
That fastball, the first fastball he threw was low inside. It set up this fork ball, and I mean, you watch it, you can see it. Look at the rotation. You can see his fingers what it was, and Strawberry was way out in front. Arm speed of a fastball, but a great off-speed pitch.
1 and 2. 2 and 2. Remember, 1 out. Carter at first, Hernandez at second, 1 run in. Might have been more, except for that great catch by Dewey Evans in right center on Dykstra. Strike 3 call. That means that young Strawberry has struck out 16 times in postseason play, twice in each game.
Looked like it was a fastball, the outside part of the plate, and that really has to have you muttering when you go through that.
The batter now is Danny Heap. 2 on, 2 out. 6-3 Red Sox. Danny flied to center and walked. 0 for 1. Off speed, got that breaking ball in. Strike 1. Standing at first, Gary Carter. At second, Keith Hernandez. Heap hit what appeared to be a hard fly ball to center, if you remember. Went back to the dugout muttering. Off speed, and he went after that.
Looks like showing the off speed, make him chase it, and the fastball, keep it away from him.
Crawford was in 40 games during the regular year. He had 4 saves, 0-2 record. ERA almost 4, but he's given the Sox a lift. 0-2 to Danny Heap.
Shook him off a pitch.
He's had a right shoulder injury in July, was on the disabled list as he works on Danny Heap on a 20-day rehab at Pawtucket. He's backed up now by Sammy Stewart, is Steve Crawford. 0-2. 1-2. In the inning, Evans took an extra base hit away from Dykstra. Backman walked. Hernandez singled off Barrett's glove. That was all for Clemens. Carter singled off Owens' glove for a run, but Strawberry struck out. And here's Heap, 1-2. Fouled away. Fastball.
The first pitch he threw was the slow curveball for a strike. He threw a fork ball he swung at, then he threw a high, tight fastball, and then you could see Gedman move in with the fastball inside. That was the one he wanted to jam him with, and he fought it off. He has shown him the whole load right there this time at bat.
So Steve Crawford trying to bail out Roger Clemens in the 5th inning, and the Mets trying to get back in the game. 6-3 Boston. Danny Heap playing for the slumping Mookie Wilson, and he's up there in a dramatic moment. Off speed, fouled away.
If possible, it'll be something besides the fastball. He's got great confidence in it, and he's putting it in pretty good spots.
The Mets have scored once here in the 5th. They have Carter at first, Hernandez at second, and Danny Heap representing the tying run at the plate. Two and two.
He wanted the fastball inside. You can see Gedman slide over there. Here's where he wants to make it happen. He doesn't want to go deep 3-2 and give those guys about 3 or 4 steps.
The Mets do not have great running speed out there. Hernandez at second is okay, but Carter is slow at first. 2-2 to Danny Heap. Big pitch. Ball 3. Now the edge is for the Mets, and McNamara knows it. The runners will be going 3-2 and 2 down. On deck is another left-hand hitter, Howard Johnson. So the runners poised and at the ready. There they go. Ground ball to Marty Barrett. Easy play, but he had to wait for Buckner, who hobbled to the bag in time, and the Mets settle for 1, but it's Dwight Evans' play in the 5th and the arm of Steve Crawford that kept the Mets away. Meanwhile, the Mets make a 2-for-1 switch. Since Danny Heap made the last out, Rick Aguilera comes in and will bat in Danny Heap's spot. Then you take Heap out and Mookie Wilson is in left field. That means he bats 9th and he'll be 3rd up in the bottom of the 6th inning. Rick Aguilera, fastball, curve, and slider is his best pitch. And although the Red Sox have already hit 2 out, Henderson and Evans, Davey Johnson brings in a pitcher who gave up the most home runs on the staff. He did a great job in relief against Houston. He went 5 innings against the Astros, no runs. He had one problem this year, and it was when the Mets clinched. In the raucous, riotous celebration, a fan jumped on him on September the 17th, and Aguilera hurt his left shoulder. Now, that set him back a bit. He also has a pretty good bat, although it's very doubtful that he'll have a chance to swing it. Meanwhile, Steve Crawford has his first major league at bat. Six to 3 in favor of Boston. 0-1 the count. And now it is Steve Crawford and Rick Aguilera. And whatever happened to the dream matchup? High pop fly into shallow right field. Backman out. Strawberry.
So far, Crawford wins the pitcher's pool. He hit it farther than anybody.
There they are. They have given baseball fans throughout the country great memories all year, but they walk off the stage tonight leaving a lot. Clemens not involved in the decision. Gooden could only lose. Remarkable. So their greatest pairing since Lunt and Fontaine here in New York, and they're gone. And here's Boggs. Right. Robbed of a hit by Backman. Double to left to drive in a run. Then aboard on a fielder's choice when he grounded to short in the 4th inning. Top of the 6th. 6-3 Boston.
I asked Wade Boggs, I said, when do you really put yourself in gear to hit? He said, when the pitcher starts to turn, I start to turn. In fact, he's got a dance term. He calls it cheek to cheek.
1 ball, 1 strike. Subtle devil. 2-1. Smooth talking stranger. Wade Boggs.
From Florida. Too bad he's not from Texas.
1 for 3. Ball 3. On deck, Marty Barrett.
Wonder how dedicated he is. He was reading Ted Williams' book on hitting when he was in the Little League.
Great book to read. 3-1. You know, you talk about Boggs as he draws that walk. Wade Boggs has a lifetime batting average in 5 years with the Red Sox of .352. Ted Williams had a lifetime batting average of .344 over 19 years. 19, and he missed a couple of years because of the war.
I can still see him hit those hard sinkers. It looked like they were going to go out the ballpark and they zoom right down.
You know, talking about Ted Williams is another great hitter in the ballpark tonight.
Oh, yeah, we saw him.
Yeah. There goes Boggs, and the ball is hit slowly to short. Santana in a hurry. Off balance throw gets him, but Barrett did his job with the runner going. Roll down. Every great batter works on the theory that the pitcher is more afraid of him than he is of the pitcher.
And I can hear Bob Gibson right now saying, oh, yeah.
Bill Buckner.
You know, we were talking about great pairings, and in the course of it tonight, we talked about the Bob Gibson Denny McLain pairing. They were each MVP that year. McLain won 31. Gibby won 22 when they met in the '68 series. But the year that Bob Gibson had in 1968, to me, is as great a year as I have ever heard of. He was never knocked out of a game, and he made 34 starts. Never knocked out. 4-1. He completed 28 of the 34 starts. Completed them. And his earned run average was 1.
And the managers were afraid to take the ball from him.
Wow. 1-0 to Billy Bucks. He lined to short, single to right, fly to left. 6-3 Boston, top of the 6th. Ball 2. Boggs at second with 1 out. As we look at Wade, Wally Backman in to say something to Aguilera just to give Boggs something to think about.
The conversation is always the same. Come on, we can't make a play if you're going to walk people. Make them hit that ball.
2-0 to Bill Buckner. On the corner for a strike, 2-1. Aguilera had some bursts of great pitching. From June to August, he was 6-0. He had a career high 9 strikeouts in a game against the Reds. He had 2 injuries besides that shoulder injury we talked about. He also had inflammation of the right knee and had to come out for a while. 2-2.
What if Carter got hit again? I saw him just shaking his head once again. The backswing. He's talking to Jim Evans about it.
He's going to talk to Walt Riniak about it soon.
Yeah, see, he did get a little tap there. I tell you, you get those. By the time the year's over, you're just glad to get away from people.
I can hear Carter now. Top hand fly my foot.
Yeah.
Killing me. 2-2. Got him. So down goes Buckner. Boggs at second base is left there, and at the end of 5.5, Sox 6, Mets 3. 2 big decisions tonight involving Dwight Gooden. One would be John McNamara playing with his head a little bit, going after that bandage, and the other Davey Johnson's decision to let him bat.
That was a bit unusual. Johnson had a chance to make a move. Gooden, I'm sure that he's thinking about it, and I agree with you with the Gooden thing. They took the Band-Aid off his left finger's ring finger, and it might have affected him.
Also, the Mets have the chance now. They got into the Red Sox bullpen early enough, but they haven't been able to capitalize on it. Howard Johnson will start it off, followed by Rafael Santana, and remember, Mookie Wilson bats 9th. So Steve Crawford working on Johnson. Hojo struck out in the 2nd inning, then hit what looked like to Davey Johnson, and I'm sure everybody in the ballpark, a home run to right in the 4th inning, and it died, and Dwight Evans caught it. That was a big play. Then leading off the 5th, Evans made a diving, dazzling catch to make an extra base hit away from Dykstra. Plus the 2 great defensive plays by Wade Boggs, and that's the difference. That has kept the Sox on top, leading by 3. Strike. Make no mistake about it, at this juncture, the proud Mets are hurting. They lose this one, down 2 games to none, and go to Fenway to battle to survive.
You'll hear all kinds of statements.
1-1. Fouled away. 1-2. Last year, in a storybook year anyway, Kansas City lost the first 2 at home and then came back to win. But boy, that is a tough mountain to climb. There it is. Well, sometimes history can be inspirational if needed, and we're not sure whether the Mets will need that or not. Well, the Red Sox sitting on top of a 6-3 lead here in the 6th inning. 1-2. On deck, Rafael Santana, who was 2 for 2 against Roger Clemens. And then Mookie Wilson.
What sends managers to the water cooler and gets the old boiler really humming is to have a 6-3 lead. And there you see John McNamara. That'll do it, boy. That'll start a hockey game in the middle of your stomach. 3-2. You got a 3-run lead. Just throw strikes, no finessing. And here's Crawford out there with a full count.
3-2 to Howard Johnson, opening up the 6th inning. Line drive foul. One hops up into the seats.
How many times I've heard it said it doesn't show up as a pitcher being wild when somebody gets the base hit, but when they keep taking those hitters deep, 3-2, it's not good pitching.
Well, you know, the Boston bullpen has been somewhat maligned, and Davey Johnson has read all about it. But if Davey read the papers today, he read a quote from Joe Sambito. It made some sense about the Red Sox pen. Since the 1st of September, it has done quite a job. Popped in the air, and looking for help is Owen. Coming in to provide it is Rice.
Somebody threw something out of the stands too, Vin.
Wow.
You can see what Rice is doing now, and that's terrible. And the fans are reacting to it.
Looks like a ball of sorts. So Jim Rice makes a good play. Fan trying to distract him. Wow, did you see that thing go by like Halley's Comet?
And you can see Rice pointing towards it. No need for that.
What Sambito said, and it really is sharpened up now, he said since September the 1st, the Boston bullpen has fewer losses than any team in baseball. And remember, the Boston bullpen did not lose a game at Fenway Park all year. They're going to check it first. No swing, says Harry Wendelstedt, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. And the Boston bullpen, the only team to have 3 men with 9 or more saves. And Crawford is trying to make that statement stand up. 1-0 to Rafael Santana. Ground foul. Buddy Harrelson, who played every inning of 2 World Series for the Mets in '69 and '73. You might remember he got into a wildly written about fight with Pete Rose.
Boy, I can see why you'd want him as a coach. He's very active before the game, in the game.
Batting practice.
Yeah. He's a good one.
1-1. Strike. You know, I was saying that before, that the Red Sox were getting ready for Gooden by having Bill Fisher and Glenn Hoffman pitch batting practice. The Mets were getting ready for Clemens with Buddy Harrelson and Greg Pavlik. So how important is batting practice? 2-2.
This time of the year, it's just to break a sweat. If you're not ready by now.
I mean, I would think if you really wanted to get ready for flamethrowers, you'd stand 5 feet in front of the plate if Buddy Harrelson is pitching batting practice.
Maybe 10 feet.
Maybe 10. 2-2. The count to Rafael Santana. Hit an inside fastball. It's backhanded and short hop by Boggs. Oh, what a play by Wade. That's the 3rd dazzler he's turned in tonight.
Hey, we talk about him reading Ted Williams' book. He's been reading the Brooks Robinson book. Here's one where he backhands a short hopper, sets himself, and then makes the long throw. That's his 3rd great play tonight.
Wade Boggs dazzling him with his glove. He has 1 hit, but boy, has he come up with 3 beauties. On Hernandez, on the carom shot off Clemens' leg, on Carter that would have driven in a run to tie up the game. And now this play on Santana. And then there was the other great defensive play by Dwight Evans on the ball hit by Dykstra. Mookie Wilson, ball one. One and 0. One ball, one strike. Steve Crawford had to come in the 5th inning and pitch to Carter, who singled, but he struck out Strawberry and got heaped to ground out. Now he's gotten 2 outs in the 6th thanks to Wade Boggs. Foul back, 1 and 2. Red Sox 6, Mets 3. And a reminder, our viewers will be selecting the NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game at the conclusion of the ball game. Meanwhile, Ray Knight talking to Keith Hernandez, but it can't be a very happy conversation. One and 2 to Mookie Wilson. The Mets bench is anything but animated.
See Gedman say, "Shake me off."
1 and 2. Got him, and down goes Mookie, and hope sinks some more at Shea at the end of 6. A dazzling Red Sox show, and they lead 6-3.
You hear about Wade Boggs' bat, but he has really made himself into a good infielder. One of the great plays that he's made, and it was. And Evans, he could have made this play easily if he thought he was the only guy in the ballpark, but thinking collision and may have lost it a bit. He dives and holds it, and once again, here's Boggs. Backhanded this time. Usually when a fella can do one thing good, and Boggs certainly is good at hitting, that's all he wants to do. But the good ball player, the real good ball player, he works on the things he's a little weak on, and Boggs has made himself a doggone good infielder.
Well, we've gone to the 7th inning. Red Sox 6, Mets 3, and Jim Rice, first ball swinging all night, fouls it away, 0-1. The Red Sox have really shown the Mets their game, and of course Boggs has really been a major portion of it. A couple of dazzling plays at third, as you've seen. He also doubled to drive in a run. The Sox have 8 hits, and that's going to be number 9. And for Jim Rice, his 2nd hit. And once again, the Sox get the leadoff man on base. They had Owen lead off the 3rd with a walk. Henderson lead off the 4th with a home run. Rice lead off the 5th inning with a single, and now the single by Jim in the 7th inning.
Remember, Evans came up in that 5th inning after Rice jumped on the fastball and hit a fastball on the tent out there in left center field. He'll look for his pitch, and if he gets it, he'll take a pretty good rip.
You know, if you have studied baseball at all, you know that the Mets have not been the only people to host a game here at Shea Stadium. The Yankees played here. There's a base hit to center. The 2 on and nobody out. The point being that a couple of the Red Sox were no strangers at all to Shea Stadium when the Yankees played here. Don Baylor played here. Bill Buckner, Dwight Evans, Tim Lawler, Jim Rice, Joe Sambito, Calvin Schiraldi, and Tom Seaver. They all know about Shea Stadium, and they now have piled up 10 hits. For Evans, he has a single and a 2-run home run, and here is Gedman, who was the only regular in the lineup without a hit. Everybody else has at least one, and forget the pitcher.
They jumped on the first pitch, Rice and Evans.
And he tried to. 0-1. The Mets thought he might bunt. They brought up the corners, but now Hernandez is back. Howard Johnson is right at the bag at third, so they're not expecting Gedman to bunt towards first, at least.
I think I'd snap off a curveball right here, hope for the ground ball. If he bunts, he bunts. I wouldn't look for it.
No. Hit down the left field line, slicing foul, and well out of play. 6 runs, 10 hits for Boston. 3 runs, 6 hits, and an error for the Mets.
I just wonder if he missed a sign or something, because Carter really talking to him. There's no way you're going to get a ground ball where that pitch was. And that's what you're looking for. 2 men on, nobody out, catcher running. He's got the good overhand curveball. And with the man on second base, they could have conceivably switched signs, and luckily it was fouled off, and Carter was not crossed up. But he sure had an animated conversation, if nothing else.
One catcher trying to outslick another at the plate. Gedman grounded out and then struck out in the 3rd inning and struck out in the 5th against Gooden, who went quietly in the 5th inning even though he struck out the side. He gave up a single and a home run to Evans and he was done.
He's not sure of the signs. See, what I knew that was happening. I'm almost positive he got crossed up. Now, usually when you got a man on second base, you touch your equipment, that's the indicator. Whether you touch the mask, it'll be the first sign. Touch your chest protector, it'll be the second sign. Touch your shin guard, it's the 3rd sign. Or whatever you make up between innings. And Carter went to his mask, and as soon as he did, Aguilera backed off.
Now he goes to the protector and then the mask, and we'll see about the 0-2 pitch. It's Loup back a second into shallow center. It's going to fall for a hit. Coming to 3rd is Rice. The ball is bobbled in center, but they're still going to hold him, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. And Carter is still annoyed and upset with Aguilera. He shook his head and patted him, although that time maybe he was just consoling him over the blooper. They made a good pitch and the hitter got away with it anyway. So now Gedman joins the fun. He bloops a single to center, and everybody but the pitcher with a base hit. And the batter is Dave Henderson. Dykstra thinking maybe Rice was going to come to the plate, but there was no chance, especially with nobody out. Even though he dropped the ball, they had already sent Jim back.
Nobody out. They're not going to take many chances. I mean, it's station to station. Keep making left turns, guys.
Rice at 3rd, Evans at 2nd, Gedman at 1st. And here is Henderson. Flied to center, hit the home run and struck out. The infield has to play up. And the pitch outside ball 1. It's too late now to give up a run and go for 2. It's the 7th inning and the Sox are leading by 3. And it sounded like a cracked bat single into right field. Rice will score, and that's it. 90 feet at a time, and it is 7-3 Boston. Still nobody out, and I heard that bat crack, so Henderson won't use it again. And Johnson would like to crack it over his knee if he could.
Base hit, 90 feet. Looked like a fastball inside part of the plate. He sinks it in, kind of hit it off the end. Perfect spot with the infield in, and move up 90 feet, get some gas, and look at the road map.
So that's 4 consecutive hits by the Red Sox in the 7th inning. Rice, Evans, Gedman, and Henderson. Jesse Orosco begins to loosen up down in the Mets bullpen. Well, the Mets are really hurting now. There's Jesse. The batter is Spike Owen, and Doug Sisk has now joined Jesse. Boy, that would be a contrast. Orosco hanging on, having to strike out Kevin Bass for the big out in the big game, and then to be brought in mopping up in a 7-3 game. Bob Stanley throwing in the Boston bullpen, and Davey Johnson, a troubled and very unhappy Mets manager. Here's Bob. So the Sox just trying to tear it wide open now. Evans at 3rd, Gedman at 2nd, Henderson at 1st. And the infield must stay up. You might say, why would you wonder about a grand slam home run with Spike Owen at the plate? Well, the last grand slam in a World Series was by a pitcher. 4-1. Dave McNally of Baltimore. He hit it off Wayne Granger, so in case you had the thought. Steve Crawford is not on deck yet, and now he's coming up the steps of the dugout. 1 ball, no strikes. Fouled away.